Okay. Hey, everybody. It's Victoria with Nutrition by Victoria. And joining me today is Natasha with Get Fit with Natasha.
Hey,
How's it going?
yeah, good. All is well here in Adelaide, South Australia. The heat wave has come to an end and we're slowly transitioning into autumn. So we've got some beautiful balmy weather and all is good.
Yeah, good for riding. I know we're in winter right now and heading into spring, and like the weather's just starting to break and get a little bit warmer and a little
Yep,
drier and good for
yep,
riding. That's kind of like how I judge the
absolutely.
weather, is whether or not I can get out on my bike.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so it's such a pleasure having you on here today. So thank you so much for joining me.
Oh,
You've been,
thanks.
yeah,
Nice.
and you look absolutely gorgeous. I mean, like you're like the poster woman for this lifestyle and like what starting it at a young age and not screwing with your body too much will like do for you. And
Absolutely.
yeah, that's what I try to emphasize to people all the time is like the less you've messed with your body and the more good you've done to your body, the better your results will be on this diet and lifestyle.
So true, spot on.
But yeah, so you've been such an inspiration and breath of fresh air to the high carb vegan community. I've been uh high carb vegan for 11 years now, and a lot of things have changed in that time, like in terms of like who's been really vocal about like the diet and lifestyle, who's gotten good results, and like there was
Yeah,
freely and everything, but you've just
yeah.
like really demonstrated a practical and realistic and sustainable approach to a high carb, low fat vegan diet and lifestyle through your social media. And I just want to like say that you're awesome and it's so good what you've been doing.
Thanks so much. I really appreciate that. And I really pride myself on being authentic and making it realistic and doable for the everyday person and to do it in their everyday lives, based on their responsibilities, based on their work, the sports that they do, their lifestyles. It just has to be realistic.
Absolutely. And I think prior to you coming onto the scene, I mean, Harley's always been realistic with like the protocol, but prior to that, there was so much dogma, and I feel like so many people left the movement because of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so for those of you that don't know, Natasha is on Instagram, Facebook. She has a YouTube channel with like over 100,000 subscribers, right?
Yeah. I think like 142K at the moment.
Yeah, that's awesome. You're
Cheers.
reaching a lot of people with the right message because there's so many people that still are doubting this diet and lifestyle when I would say like proof is in the pudding. Like look at the people who have been doing it long term, like yourself, Harley, Pauline. I'm a long termer now. Um,
Yep.
I mean, we all like just are functioning great and healthy and look good and yeah, all the good stuff. Um, but yeah, you can find Natasha on Get Fit with Natasha on all her social media. And then you're also on Strava, Natasha Marie Team Vegan, correct?
Yeah, it was that. And then I changed it to Get Fit with Natasha to match the rest of my handles. So it's easier for people to remember. So Get Fit with Natasha on Strava too.
All right. I guess I didn't notice that change. Maybe I did, but yeah, you're right. It does make it
That's so
easier
good.
for people to see you. And I know I follow your Strava all the time, so it's fun. Strava's like my
Yeah,
favorite social media app to use.
I love Strava. All of my training is on Strava.
And you're a runner and a cyclist mainly, correct?
Yes, so I started off with running. I used to be a state cross country runner in school. That was my main sport. And then when I graduated in 2015, I took a year and a half off running. I was dealing with some shin splints and ankle pain. I just had to take a rest and regenerate because running is such a high impact sport. It is an injury guaranteed sport. takes years and years and years to build up the conditioning necessary to do regular runs and regular training on tarmac. So the shoes I was wearing, they were a Mizuno racing flat. They didn't have the support and cushioning that I needed to be doing 4 sessions a week. So it was a year and a half off running. And that's when I got my first road bike. My dad helped me find a road bike. He bought it for me. And that's when I got into cycling from watching Harley's YouTube videos and wanting to do it myself, because I lived in Sydney, Australia, where it's very busy, a lot of cars, and I just wanted to get from A to B to C on my own terms. So that's when I started cycling, and my love and passion for cycling totally took over. And now running, I literally logged 15 kilometers. Yes, 15 kilometers of running on Strava last year. So running is really back there for me now, and cycling is number one. I did get a pair of Nike Alpha Flies, which I've done one park run in, but I will get more use out of them in the months to come. I think as it gets cooler, running is good, because when you're cycling in the hills and it's really cold, and that's, it
Yeah.
takes a lot of time, because you go out for a ride and it's an hour, hour and a half. But with a run, you can just chuck on your shoes and go around the block 5, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I can definitely relate. Like, since it's been winter, I've been more consistent with running, just because it does feel better to run when it's cold versus cycle when it's cold. And where I live,
Mm,
it gets to be like 0 degrees or below or Celsius. So we get a lot of
that's
snow and stuff like that. I mean, I've like conditioned myself to ride when it's cold out, but I mean, that's just because I'm obsessed with riding too. Like, as soon as I got my
yep.
first road bike, I was like, it's over, like this is where it's
Yes.
at.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. The road bike really transforms your perception of cycling. A lot of people start cycling, but they're on a beach cruiser and a heavy clunker of a bike, and you can't enjoy it that way. They're like, oh, but I'm not a professional. I'm not fast like you guys. I'm not slim yet. It's like, it doesn't matter. You have to get the right equipment to
Yeah.
inspire you to keep on riding and to reach your goals, because you're not going to reach your goals on a 15-kilo clunker.
Oh yeah. I mean, unless you're like living in Florida and that's like what you do because there's no hills there, like even in Florida, I think if you want to get around, you should get a road bike. Like, there's bridges and stuff where you can do hills. I know somebody was talking about that in Harley's group recently, is like, I'm in Florida and, how do I
Yeah,
like get a good workout or something on the bike? And
yeah.
yeah, but
Well,
yeah,
it if you feel nervous about road bike drop bars, you can just get a flat bar hybrid, and that's a perfect commuter bike and a perfect starting bike if you don't have any experience with cycling. So a flat bar hybrid, that's perfect as
yeah,
well.
that's actually what I started with, was a flat bar hybrid, and I took that up a 3,000-foot climb when I lived in the mountains in
Wow.
Albuquerque. Yeah, I
Yep.
mean, like, I was just determined, and like it was like 2016, and I was just dedicated to the lifestyle and like trying to get really fit. And I will say that
Sure.
like the cycling with the high carb, low fat vegan diet like completely transforms you over time. Like, your body just gets fitter, and that's what I try to emphasize too. Like, everybody's like, where are my results? Where are my results? And they're 1, 2 years in. I'm like, you got to be working on your fitness too, and like do it with the bike because it's so sustainable. Um, Getting back to, I love that you started talking about when you first like started the lifestyle. I want to rewind all the way to how your grandmother had influenced your diet, and in what way, and how old you were, and what your diet and lifestyle was like at that time.
So I was raised by my grandmother. My parents divorced when I was 3 years old. So I was raised by my grandma, my dad's mother, and she was a ballerina. She was a showgirl. She was all over Australian TV doing the big shows. And she started influencing my diet in a positive way from about the age of 7. So I started ballet when I was 5, and I did ballet up until age 14 when I quit. So she started influencing my diet from age 7. She would feed me lots of jam on toast, a lot of orange juice, a lot of candy, pasta, white rice, and the sauces that I would have with them, they weren't vegan. They would have a little bit of chicken or fish, very rarely red meat, but they were very lean dishes. She never deep fried food. Her oil use was very small. And in her mind, that was the right way to feed me. It was wholesome, it nourished me, it fueled me. And basically, she wanted a healthy, fit kid that wasn't fat.
Yeah, I mean, like that's essentially a high carb, low fat diet, even though it wasn't vegan. I mean, veganism at that time, anyways, was so brand new to the scene that like she was just doing what she knew worked to keep her body fit, lean, and healthy. So
That's
naturally,
right.
I mean, that's awesome. I mean, I'm raising my kids the same way and they're so healthy and they're so vibrant and so active and everything. And I just think like it's the best thing you can do for kids. And it sets you up too for later in life because you never deal with like a weight issue that
That's right.
you don't get into dieting because so many young women get into dieting so early and it's because they grow up eating this like standard American high fat diet.
Right. You are so right there because girls that I did ballet with were getting into dieting from age 9. That's when they started their body dysmorphia and calorie restriction. Age 9.
And that ends up being so detrimental to their health, like as a teenager, messing with their
Yep.
hormones. And like, I don't even know if you can like fully recover from that starting at such a young age because you're going into puberty with
Yeah.
an
Yeah.
insufficient calorie intake. I mean, I can only imagine what that does to your hormones.
Yeah. So at my dance classes, I always had high carb, low fat snacks. And because of this, I was slim and energized. And then I would eat more fats here and there because I was a kid and I loved hot chips. And I
Yeah.
loved, I loved having a burger here and there. So it wasn't like I would just say to my grandma, oh, I want some mac and cheese a couple times a month. She wouldn't say no. She'd be like, yep, you can have that, but there was always pantry full of cereal, fruit puree. There's always bananas, oranges, apples there. Fruit juice was always stocked. And I really look back and have gratitude and thank her for putting me on the right path from such a young age, which she learned from her mother, who was slim and trim for her whole life as well. So I'm very lucky in that regard.
I mean, that's amazing that they even like knew to do that. But I think back in the day, like especially if her mother was doing it, like a high carb, low fat diet was standard. That's the foods that people could afford were the
That's
rice
correct.
and the pasta
Yeah.
and the sugar and the canned fruits. And like the way that your grandmother raised you is exactly what I'm doing with my kids. There's always high carb, low fat food around, snacks around, but they do indulge in the higher fat stuff. And honestly, as a kid, you need it. Your calorie burn is so high as a kid, especially if you're active and you want to just stay satiated and I
Oh,
always
for
say
sure.
like the most important thing is making sure you're eating enough calories so that your metabolism stays intact because otherwise like you just run into a lot of problems and we'll get into talking about that a little bit more.
Yep.
So at what age did you go vegan and start during Riders protocols?
So I went vegan in December 2016. I was 18 years old, and that's when I really had educated myself on Duran Riders protocols and the nutrition aspects, as well as cycling. So I was actually putting sugar in my smoothies from age 15, but
Wow.
then went vegan at 18. So I've been watching Harley's videos since I was 15. That's when I started doing sugar in all of my smoothies and juices.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome that you like got such an edge on, your diet and lifestyle so early. And really like it's because Harley put himself out there and has just always been
Yeah,
really authentic, just like yourself in what it takes to be successful as a high carb, low fat vegan, and how to get the results in the lifestyle and what to eat, because I know he came out with the sugar thing and everybody went crazy. And then
didn't
Freely,
they?
yeah, I mean, and then Freely was never really transparent about, what she was doing. And even to this day, I feel like
She
she's
still
still like,
isn't.
yeah, she's still like tends on that like orthorexic like side of
She's
things.
catering to the orthorexics because just keep them on the edge, keep them confused, and make
Yeah.
the most coin.
Right, because then they'll buy more of her books and stuff like that.
Yeah.
um, so
And also if she's not telling them what she really does, being raw and authentic, then they'll never get the results that she did.
yeah, absolutely. And I think that that's what you and Harley have displayed. Like it's helped me out. I was very like on the fence about adding sugar to my diet. And it's funny, like
Yeah.
before our interview, I was snacking on Sour Patch Kids with the
Yeah.
girls just to carb up. I already had dinner too, but get those carbs in so that you can be productive, so you can function, so you can get fitter. Like that's what it's about, is being able to like be your best self by eating as much carbohydrates. And this past summer, I wrote a coaching program up, basically like proving how this diet and lifestyle works from like a completely scientific point of view. Cause I did my master's of science in human nutrition. I was like, I got to be able to use this in some kind of a way to like help people
Yeah.
understand this better, because I feel like I get so many questions all the time, like, well, I doubt this because of this, and what this person is doing is different from what you're saying. And are you sure about the sugar? And it's like, well, when you start throwing like biochemistry at people, I feel like they stop like asking as many questions.
Yeah, it's funny that people really respect the science talk, and that's why
Yeah.
people who talk absolute shit, like Eric Berg, have so much clout because he talks so much science, and his audience don't get it. They're just like, yeah,
Well,
yes, Eric,
that's
yes,
the
stop
thing,
it,
is like
right?
what these doctors are talking about isn't true. It's not like how the science, like how it actually works, how the metabolism actually works, how the TCA cycle works. And I'm like, they're just, my husband will say, because I'll complain to him about stuff. He'll be like, people are just dumb, and they just like other people feed off of that, like ignorance or whatever you want to call it, or lack of information. But
Yeah,
I encourage people to like buy the textbooks that I used like in school, just so that they can start you know discerning it for themselves. But anyways,
yeah.
I want to get into talking about your if your weight fluctuates due to changes in your fat intake. So this is in reference to, I think, your weight gain experiment that you had done. So this is
Mm,
a question coming from a viewer, and they
yep.
want to know, yeah, so if your weight changes due to fat intake, what your current fat intake is, and if you can gain weight without becoming overweight, um, in terms of like, did you add your fat grams slowly, or did you like just go all in? I'm figuring that you probably just went based off your appetite, like what you wanted at the time. So go ahead and explain.
Yeah, so this started uh it was in August 2020, and I was about 56 kilos at 178 centimeters, so 5'10". And I just decided I want to do an experiment and see how long it takes me to get over 60 kilos. So I didn't go all in the aspect of like chowing down fat every single meal. As you said before, Victoria, I just ate fat to my appetite. I still carved up. I ate unlimited carbs every day. I just increased my fat and protein intake. My activity, it stayed the same. And then over a 6-month period, I gained 6.5 kilos. So I went to about 61, 62 kilos.
Okay.
And that was the experiment. So, yeah, the fat and protein intake bumped up my weight. And my bum got juicier, my boobs got bigger, and I was just holding more weight. I was looking, more womanly rather than high school girl. And then I maintained that for about a year, and I was eating about, during the 6 months that I gained the weight, it was roughly 50 to 80 grams of fat a day.
Okay.
And protein around 60 to 90, it varied. So much higher than our weight loss protocols.
Right.
And then in, I think it was mid-October 2021, I then decided that I'm going to do the weight loss experiment. So I went all in on our weight loss protocols, unlimited carbs, maximum 10 grams fat a day, maximum 50 grams protein. And then I lost all of the weight in 3 months.
Wow. And that's just a testament for one, how strong your metabolism is because you've never dieted or done the birth control pill and you've always been focused on fitness, but also just like how your protocols make you so insulin sensitive, because that's the difference was you turned your body into like being more anabolic by increasing fat and protein, which made your insulin a little bit more resistant and allowed you to gain weight, which I want everybody to understand that I think 56 kilos for you is slightly underweight, correct? Like in regards to like the BMI chart, I think.
Yeah, so it does read slightly underweight on the BMI chart, but what we have to remember is like people's bone structures, their natural muscle. I'm very petite. My shoulders are so narrow, my hips are fairly narrow, and I don't hold much muscle naturally. My wrists are tiny,
Yeah, I
and
mean, you're built like the quintessential, like, I'm sorry. You're built like the quintessential supermodel is like your natural build. And then when you gained weight though, you were still, and I think it's important for people to understand, you were still within like a healthy and normal BMI range for you. So at no point did you like cause yourself any kind of like health imbalances or anything gaining weight. You just basically were like, this is my range, but then what falls naturally is probably more of a low fat diet. So what would you say your current fat intake is like on a daily basis when you're just kind of doing your own thing and eating like what you want to eat and eating according to your appetite and kind of maintaining your weight?
So from a weight maintenance perspective, it's about 30 to 40 grams of fat per day. But day to day at the moment, my fat intake varies from 10 to about 70 grams. So I am lenient with my fat intake these days by appetite because my TSH is consistently so low. It hovers around 0.5 to 0.8. My metabolism is primed,
Right.
and it's effortless for me to maintain my weight. And if I want to gain weight, then I up the fat and protein. If I want to lose weight, I just cut it right down and do as I teach to all of my clients and as I do on my YouTube videos. So I can control my weight as I want. I can have an 18 BMI or a 22 BMI, and I'm still extremely healthy, period every month, fit, energized, good sleep, good moods, whether my BMI is 18 or 22 or higher.
Absolutely. And I
Or
and I
higher,
mean
which
like,
hasn't been before.
yeah, and I mean like you just look so healthy too. Like a lot of people say, oh, vegans who do this diet long term, like they all look emaciated or whatever. I'm like, I don't know, maybe you're talking about like other vegans, but all of us like high carb vegans who eat as much as we want every day, like
Yeah.
we all like have really healthy hormones, like perfect blood work. We're all maintaining like a lean BMI weight, like just effortlessly too. And we're all like fit because it's easy to be fit when you eat like this. So
Well, actually, the people that say, oh, the emaciated vegans from doing your protocols. No, they aren't doing our protocols. They have eating disorders, whether they deny it or not. They have eating disorders, they restrict their calories, they fear refined sugar, and they undereat. Their fitness is shit. Their
Mm-hmm.
blood work, I don't see their blood work. Wouldn't be good. So that's what we have to remember, that these people love taking vegan out of context, because vegan
Absolutely.
is not vegan. You know, what does vegan even mean? There's 100 different ways to do vegan.
I know. I just made a video today that was like why I no longer support like a vegan diet or recommend one, just kind of as clickbait, but really like I was just hounding home that you need to eat enough calories if you're gonna be vegan. Like, I mean, everybody needs to eat enough calories, but if you want to be successful, you have to eat enough, and that's what it's about. And it's so easy. Like, this is the easiest like diet and lifestyle I've ever done. And I've
It
had,
is so easy. Yep, it's
yeah.
easy and it's cheap. It is so budget friendly.
Oh
You
my
can
gosh.
transform yourself. If you need to lose 100 kilos of fat, you'll lose 100 kilos of fat, and you'll do it for cheap. No liposuction, no surgery, no dangerous surgery that could potentially kill you.
Oh, I
It's
know. I have like 4 bags of like 50-pound bags of white rice like in my pantry that I stocked up on, and I think
yeah,
they cost me $15 a piece. That was
nice.
it. Yeah, so
You
like
are
it is
set.
so cheap. I mean, canned fruit, sugar, buying ripe fruit in season, bananas, it's all cheap.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh we have about 10 minutes left, so I'm gonna zip through some questions for you. What are your best tips for weight loss?
So my best tips for weight loss is, this is going to tie into, before you were talking about the people saying, oh, like, but he says this, she says that, she's doing that, and he's doing this. You got to stop the wishy-washy. You got to make a choice and you got to commit to it. Look at us. Who has the results that you want? Is it us, or is it Dr. Gregor, or is it Chef AJ? You know, if you want their results, do exactly as they say. If you want our results, do exactly as we say. It's as simple as that. You have to have confidence in your decision, and you have to commit and not look back. The reason that people are taking so long to get their results is because they're too wishy-washy. Bit of this, a bit of that. I'll do your protocol for a week. Oh no, sugar's bad. I'll do green juices for a week, and then I'll do a juice cleanse. Nah, you'll never get where you want to be. You have to be logical, you have to be headstrong, and you have to do it.
Absolutely. I mean, you just said it how it is. We give the standards in terms of how many carbohydrates you can eat, unlimited fat grams. If weight loss is your goal, less than 10 grams a day.
No
Protein,
overt fats. It's
right?
simple.
No overt fats, no oil, no nuts, no seeds, no avocado, no coconut, no animal products. And keep your protein like under 50 grams a day. The RDA for women is 46 grams a day, and that is as much as you need. You don't need to go over that. It's okay if you go a little under. Um, but that's it. And
Yeah,
then,
yeah. It's funny as well. You know, a lot of people lie to us and they lie to themselves. They say,
yeah.
yeah, I was doing your protocols for 2 years and I just kept on gaining weight. And then I go to their profiles and they got all this greasy shit on their feet. I'm like, yeah, maybe you did our protocols on Monday and Thursday, and the rest of the days you did not.
Yeah, it's either that or it's the other side of the coin, which gets into the next question, what your thoughts are on calorie restriction. And I know for myself, I came onto this lifestyle and I gained, I mean, I was like 125 pounds and I'm 6 foot tall. So that's pretty underweight for me. And I got there by fasting and under eating and low carb dieting and doing all the stuff you're not supposed to do. And I
Yeah,
gained 60 pounds. But because I
yeah,
was so dedicated after 2 years of dealing with the weight gain and holding that weight, it all started to drop off. And
yeah,
but most people, I feel like they're not willing to wait that long, but that is the result of calorie restriction. So
yeah. Isn't it interesting? They will do years, decades of calorie restriction, but then they won't do our protocol for a year to heal themselves and reverse the the metabolic damage, the adaptive thermogenesis. So it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
The harder you restrict and the longer you restrict, the harder you will rebound. It's human physiology. It's what happens. And
Uh,
people think adaptive thermogenesis, weight gain, is such a bad thing and it's the end of the world. It's healing. It's your body's response to what you have put it through. The fact that you have gained weight, it means that you're healthy and that your body is now going to start to regenerate itself. It has to regenerate your metabolism. And when it's comfortable and it trusts you, the weight will finally fall off and you'll never look back.
Yep. And that's exactly how it happens. When you restrict your calories, you prime your body for fat storage. Insulin becomes resistant, even though you're not taking in enough calories. It becomes resistant because you're not taking in enough. Your blood levels of leptin drop, your thyroid tanks, like your TSH goes up because you're not able to produce enough thyroid hormones in order to regulate your metabolism. So there's so much like biomechanical processes that change, and it's all in order to keep you alive. It's a survival mechanism, and you put on what I call survival reserves following
Survival
the
reserves.
famine.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, and how long you're going to keep it on is one, what your diet's like when you're rebounding, and two, like how dedicated you are to just giving into the process and letting your body do what it needs to do in order to heal and recover. And I went through it, and you can definitely do it. I feel like it's easier now to recover metabolically because there's not so much like I was in the whole like raw vegan scene. It was before like cooked starches were like a thing, and I didn't know what to eat. And I feel like if I came into it now and I was trying to reverse metabolic damage, it would be easier because I'd have more calorie sufficiency knowing that, oh, I can eat fruit, sugar, and starch, and I'd recover
Yep.
faster.
Absolutely. Yep. You have to be patient and you have to enjoy the process. If you just focus on the end results, you'll always suffer and you'll continue to be depressed. You have to enjoy every day and do what you do with confidence. If you have excess weight and you're fluffy, it doesn't matter. It's only temporary. But if you say it's the end of the world, oh, I'm fat, oh, I hate myself, you will always suffer, even when you do get slim, because you'll then pick on something else. Something else isn't good enough. So you have to accept yourself how you are now. And accepting yourself doesn't mean just being fat and not doing anything about it. Accept yourself and love yourself enough to do good for you every day.
Absolutely. And that's how I got through the weight gain experience, was having a positive mental attitude and not caring what other people thought, not caring what other people were saying to me about what I was eating, how much I was eating, like,
Yeah.
and that's just what you have to do. And it actually makes you more confident, a stronger person, because you now aren't influenced by what other people are doing or saying, and you're just doing what you need to do in order to get where you want.
100%.
But I want to wrap things up. There was a lot more questions that we had today, so thank you to everybody who left a question. We will probably do a part 2 because there's
Sure.
just so
Yeah.
much to talk about.
There's
And
so much to talk about. This has gone so quickly. We should do part 2, 3, 4, 5. Like,
for sure. I know. I
yeah,
think people are going to eat this up. I mean, everybody was really
for
excited when
sure.
I said that I was going to interview you. And I feel like we have to like I plan to like showcase more of like the successful long-term vegans, just so that people can like see, oh, these people have results, and like look what they've been doing, they're all doing the same thing. So um
Yeah, we're all doing the same thing. We're carving up. We're getting it done.
yeah, absolutely. So you do offer coaching, because some of the questions were really specific. And I feel like people would benefit from like asking those specific personal questions in your coaching group. And I know that you have a weight loss ebook as well. And those can be found on duringrider.com, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Right now, you can find my ebook and coaching services at durenrider.com, or just flick me a message on Instagram and I'll sort you out from there. And that way we can go fully in depth on your situation. I'll analyze your blood tests, answer all of your questions, and create a plan based on you and what you want to achieve.
All right, guys, you heard it from the top weight loss expert right now. Get fit with Natasha. I mean, she really knows what she's talking about. She's got the results, and you guys would really benefit from chatting it up with her. Thank you again, Natasha, so much for joining me today. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me on, Victoria. It's just
Yeah.
flown by. I'll
Oh, I
see you soon.
know. Yeah, see you soon, and leave any comments or questions down below, guys. And please
Hello.
like and share and subscribe to both of our channels.
Bye.
Bye.